In a quiet neighborhood, behind a weathered fence, neighbors began to notice something that would haunt them forever. The sound came first, a hollow, desperate whimpering that carried on the wind. When they finally peered through the fence, what they discovered defied comprehension. There, in the center of a perfect circle of bare earth, sat a ghost of what had once been a dog. The chain around his neck told a story of 11 years. 11 years of captivity. 6 feet. That was the radius of his entire world. Every blade of grass within his reach had been worn away by endless pacing. His shelter was nothing more than rotting plywood and rusted metal sheets. His fur, once golden, had become a matted prison of neglect and despair. 11 years of confinement had stolen his muscle, his strength, his very essence. When human eyes met his, he didn't hope. He cowered. This broken soul had forgotten what kindness looked like. But what happened next would change everything. If you're finding value in this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Max wasn't always a prisoner. Once, he had been someone's dream puppy. But when the novelty wore off, when the cute little dog became bigger, needier, the chain became his world. 6 feet of cold metal that would define the next 11 years. His owners moved him to the backyard and simply forgot he existed. Food came sporadically, sometimes once a day, sometimes not for days at all. Water was a luxury that often ran dry in his cracked, algae-stained bowl. Through scorching summers, Max had no escape from the relentless heat. During brutal winters, he shivered against metal that burned his skin with cold. But the physical torment was nothing compared to what isolation did to his mind. Dogs are pack animals. They crave connection, companionship, purpose. Max had none of this, just the same 6-foot circle. Day after day, year after year. His world had shrunk to the size of his chain, his spirit even smaller. By year 11, Max had given up hope that anything would ever change. But sometimes, when we least expect it, heroes appear in the most unlikely places. On a cold Tuesday morning, hope finally arrived in the form of a white rescue van. 3 trained rescuers stepped out, armed with years of experience and hearts ready for what they might find. But nothing could have prepared them for the sight that awaited in that backyard. Their first challenge was clear. How do you approach a dog who has learned that humans only bring pain? Every step forward triggered a desperate retreat. Every gentle word met with trembling silence. The teens' hearts broke as they documented the evidence. 11 years of neglect captured in photographs. Meanwhile, the legal battle was already underway. Papers were being filed. Authorities contacted. But first, they had to gain the trust of a soul that had forgotten what kindness looked like. Hours passed. The team rotated shifts, each volunteer taking turns in the waiting game. Finally, a breakthrough. A single sniff of food. A tentative step forward. The legal papers arrived just as the sun began to set. They finally had permission to act. With gentle hands and specialized tools, they began the delicate process of removing that cursed chain. For the first time in 11 years, metal was no longer wrapped around his neck. But the real rescue was just beginning. His journey to healing would test everyone involved. As the rescue team transported him to safety, they knew the real battle was just beginning. The veterinary examination would reveal the true extent of what 11 years of neglect had done to his body. His muscles had atrophied from years of limited movement. His joints were swollen and painful. Malnutrition had ravaged his organs. His heart was weak. His bones were brittle. But perhaps the deepest wounds were the ones you couldn't see on any X-ray. At the rescue facility, he was given his own quiet space. No chains, no threats, just safety. For the first time in over a decade, he could lie down without the weight of metal around his neck. But freedom terrified him. He cowered in the corner, trembling at every footstep. The rescue staff knew that healing his spirit would take infinite patience and unwavering dedication. Day after day they sat nearby, never forcing contact, simply being present. They spoke in gentle tones, moved slowly, respected his boundaries. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, something began to shift in his eyes. The first glimmer of hope, the faintest spark of trust. But the moment that would change everything was still waiting just around the corner. 3 days after his first steps inside the facility, the moment we'd all been waiting for had arrived. His rescuers opened the door to the outside world. His first real walk in over 11 years was about to begin. He stepped cautiously toward the threshold. The concrete beneath his paws was all he'd ever known. Then it happened. His front paw touched something he'd never felt before. Grass. Real, living grass beneath his feet. He froze completely. For 30 seconds, he didn't move a muscle. His brain was processing something entirely foreign. Then, slowly, deliberately, he lifted his paw and placed it down again, testing this strange new surface. What happened next stunned everyone watching. His tail began to wag. 11 years of captivity, and suddenly, something deep inside him was awakening. He took another step. Then another. His instincts were returning. Then he did something that brought his rescuer to tears. He lowered his head to the ground. He sniffed the earth. The first natural scent he'd experienced in over a decade. His eyes widened. His ears perked up. The dog he was meant to be was fighting to break free. But this was just the beginning. The real transformation was yet to come. Week by week, something miraculous began to unfold. The broken spirit we found on that chain was transforming into something beautiful. His coat grew thicker, his eyes brighter, his tail wagged with purpose. But the most incredible change wasn't physical. He learned to trust again, to love again, to hope again. And then, the call that would change everything forever came. A family had seen his story. They wanted to give him the home he'd never had. The adoption day arrived like a sunrise after the longest night. No more chains, no more forgotten corners, no more waiting. His new home had everything a dog could dream of. A yard to roam. Children to play with. A family who saw him as treasure, not burden. Every morning he wakes up loved. Every night he sleeps protected. From a 6-foot chain to endless horizons of love. This is what redemption looks like. This is what second chances create. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe for more.